Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series where we review every single Capcom CP, CP System Dash, CPS2, and CPS3 game ever made. And today we have one of the real big heavy hitters, Ghouls and Ghosts or Dai Makimura. I absolutely love this game, and I absolutely love this franchise, although I also hate it at the same time, and I will explain very shortly why that is. Before we get too far involved, though, if you can do me a huge favor, go down below and hit like and subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we have a Patreon link down there as well. But I have been a huge fan of this entire series since I first played the game, and I used to rent this game on the Sega Genesis constantly when I was a kid, so much so that my parents bought it for me for Christmas because they were tired of paying their rental fee. It is just an absolutely outstanding game. It plays incredibly well, it sounds great, it's great to look at. It is just one of those iconic series from gaming, and if you grew up in the 90s and you played video games, you probably played this at least once in your life. It's just one of those series that I've been playing my whole life. The new game that just came out is also awesome. It's just a thing that's been around forever, and it's always been a part of my gaming experience. Now, why do I hate it though? Well, the reality is I actually don't hate this game. It is notoriously hard, and I am affected by that. I can memorize up to a certain point in this game, but when I start getting stuck, I just continually get stuck, and you'll see in this video how well I'm doing until I'm not doing well whatsoever. And I appreciate the game's hard. I appreciate that it's not holding your hand and it's not pulling any punches. People always talk about things like Dark Souls and Bloodborne being hard and challenging. Well, this is the direct lineage from where those games came from. This game, back in the day, I couldn't beat it. I still can't beat it. I can usually get through the first cycle if I sit down and spend enough time with it. But you have to beat the game twice to see the real ending, and that second cycle I have never once been able to do it, and I fully admit that I probably never will be able to. It's one of those white whales in gaming that I've always been chasing after and probably will never actually accomplish, but in some ways I like that this is still an outstanding challenge for me. Maybe one day I'll do it, and maybe I'll be bummed out about the fact that I'm actually able to beat the game, and that kind of chase that I've been after for all these years will finally be over. But as far as the game itself is concerned, it is the simplest thing to play. You can jump, and when you jump, that's the direction you're going in. You're not changing. You have different weapons, and you have two hits. The first hit, Arthur loses his armor. The second hit, he turns into a pile of bones. It is as simple as that. But the complexities lie in all the pattern recognition, all the enemy projectiles come out in a certain way, and just how to navigate the world to avoid being damaged. And you'll see here on the first level, because I've played this so many times, I have taken a hit, but everything's going well. I know where the enemies are, I know the patterns, I know how to stay out of danger, and not to spoil this, but I'm going to be able to beat the boss on my first life, and I haven't cut the shot once, so you know I haven't used any editing trickery. Now on the second stage, things are going to go slightly different, and that's what I find when I play this game, is it just abuses me. It beats me up, it kills me over and over again, and it laughs at me while it's doing it. But it's fun, the same way that in Dark Souls, when you die, you want to jump right back in and go and pursue who killed you, get your souls back, and just see a little bit more of the game. And that's what I do love about this. It's just challenging enough to make you want to keep playing. But once you start doing poorly, that's basically it. At least for me, once I get stuck, I turn it off and I'll just come back another day. But this is going to be a shorter video. It's going to be 8 minutes, not 10. So let's do a little bit of the soundtrack because it is quite good. And I'll be back in about a minute and tell you more about why I love being beaten up by this game. Enjoy. And there's my first death, and that is a sound effect that I've grown accustomed to hearing. I swear sometimes it may show up in my nightmares. And while we'll get past this point, the main takeaway from playing this game is that the minute you get on your back foot, the minute that you pause and start thinking too much, is the minute that you're going to die. You'll be dead and you won't even know it yet. The screen will just configure itself in a way that is almost impossible to escape from. But the great thing about the game is when you're playing it well, it feels amazing. And that's the thing. It just depends on what day I turn this game on as to whether or not I'm going to be good at it or bad at it. It's just kind of down to like the personal feel. You'll see on that side of the bridge there, I was able to get through no issues. And with this flame here, I was able to run just quick enough. And now we get to Red Armorer, a notoriously pain in the butt enemy in the game. And he gets his own game with Demon Crest. It's awesome. You should check it out. and I kill him immediately. Sometimes he just kills me 3 or 4 times. Today, no big deal whatsoever. And that's just kind of the thing. It feels like Ghouls and Ghosts has a personality of its own, and it's just depending on whether or not it's in a good mood or a bad mood, what it's going to do to you. But here, apparently today, is where I'm going to get stuck. And you'll see that I just start to slow down and I start to think a little bit too much. I take my first hit and I'm already dead. I just don't know it yet. It's the type of game where if you're not moving forward constantly, if you're not planning your next move, if you get in the wrong spot, there really isn't much you can do to prevent your death. And now you'll see I've got a worse power up. I take a hit because that enemy is in a different spot than he was the previous round, and I fall right into that pit. And this is the type of game, if it's early and you get the sword, it's sometimes better just to restart and try again than to have to deal with a different weapon that you're not going to be using well in this moment in time. And there, I just ran forward too quickly. I get trapped by hitting a treasure chest, and again, I die. But I never not have a good time when I die. I want to continue to keep playing, and I could have played this for 2 or 3 more hours if I didn't have another 40 some odd games to capture in this entire series. It's never a bad time when you're doing poorly, it's just a frustrating time. But this is the type of game, if you're dead, if you get hit, it's your fault. The game didn't trick you into it, you tricked yourself into it. And you'll see there too, those lava flows coming down from the ceiling do different things. Sometimes they come all the way down to the floor, sometimes they stop midway. I made the mistake of going up assuming it was going to stop midway because it did the previous time, and I ran right into danger. So you really have to be patient, you have to think about what your next move is, and you really have to plan, but at the same time you have to be thinking on your feet and be able to improvise. And that's a really interesting concept for a game. Plan and strategize, and also just make it up as you go along. But I can't recommend this game enough. It is one of my favorite games of all time, even if it is just killing me over and over again today. If you've never played it, check it out. If you like games like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, granted this is a completely different genre, but you'll enjoy that hard nature to it, that learning patterns. I just love the game, even if I suck at it most of the times. But short of that, that is Ghouls and Ghosts, or Daimaki Yamura for the Capcom CP system. It's one of the most famous Capcom games ever made, and it is one of my favorite games. And you will see that I finally do get by this area, but of course I don't have an extra hit, and I'm going to die to the boss almost immediately, breaking my heart. But if you guys have any questions or comments, I'll leave them down below. We'll chat with you guys, and I will be back next week with another episode in this review series, and I'll have videos on Friday, Sunday, and Tuesday as well. But this damn fire dragon hits me. I forgot his pattern, and I'm right back at the start. And this is where I decided I was done playing for the day, because if I kept playing, I would have been here for 4 more hours and maybe still stuck on the same spot. You never know. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Arthur, I hate you. Bye-bye.